Greetings, dear ones. It is Sunday, the 10th of January, 2021. We have made it into the new year and we're cruising along now, figuring things out and making decisions about how we want to spend this year. I'm Maitri from Dragonfly Cottage on the coast of North Carolina. And I come to you these Sundays to share a bit of my life and encourage you with your own. I spent a very long time today, hours in fact, doing a very long blog post. I do a public blog post on Sundays. And this one was about gathering together all the bits and parts and pieces of my creative life to weave them all together as a whole to do the work that I'm going to be doing here in 2021. I also did a studio tour with lots of big, colorful photos of my studio and my work areas so that you can see them because, and this is very important to me, the work that I do on Patreon and elsewhere, I call Maisie's World. Maisie is the character that I have been drawing and painting for the last couple of years. I've done over 40 paintings now. I'm working on her book, and Maisie's book, really Maisie's World, comes right out of my life. It is Maitri's World. A very colorful, fun, charming, delightful, homespun kind of place. And the thing about it is, Maisie and I are both agoraphobic. And for those of you who don't know the term, agoraphobic people are the ones you hear about who never leave their house, who have a fear. Agoraphobia literally means fear of the marketplace, which comes from agora in the Greek, I believe. But I have suffered from lifelong mental health issues, among them bipolar disorder, serious clinical depression, a serious anxiety disorder, PTSD, all coming from a lot of abuse and trauma in my childhood, which led to a lot of who I am today. And yet, what I want to say to you at nearly 67 years old, I'll be 67 on April 30th, is that despite agoraphobia and mental health issues and being a disabled senior citizen living only on Social Security, I am happier than I have ever been in my life. Because I'm doing what I love. I am bringing joy to myself and others. Maisie is helping people with my funky, fun art that I call fantasy, fiction, and memoir, kind of all rolled into one, bits and pieces of all. And yet, I've been thinking about something, and that is I'm a lifelong writer. I've been writing professionally since I was 20, but I've been writing seriously since I was 9. Writing was the thing that saved my life and helped me cope through a lot of darkness in my childhood. And it has been my central work. I taught journal keeping classes, a very creative, unusual journal keeping class, for 40 years. I am an artist. I am a fiber artist. I used to have an Etsy shop, and I sold hand-spun art yarns, beautiful bats, what they call them, a foamy soft material that you use to spin yarn. I did fiber art pieces. I made all kinds of things. But in 2014, my house burned down, and I pretty much lost everything, and that was the end of the Etsy shop. I lost a lot of my fiber art equipment. My heart went out of it. I lost some pretty substantial things, and I just didn't have the heart to continue on. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I was really able to work seriously as an artist, finding Maisie, who found me. And yet, what has been coming back to me is the realization that at 67, I have a lifetime of creative work that I have done, that I have loved, that has been important to me. Not work that made me rich and famous, work that made me happy. Fiber art, textile art, sewing, stitching, drawing, painting, which I'm doing with Maisie, but also making little handmade books. And I've had several small presses. I love little zines, and I've had several over decades. And I've had independent publications, a 100-page quarterly journal on all blue paper under the auspices of my Blue Hibiscus Press, called The Contemplative Way, Slowing Down in a Modern World. That was before I even had the internet. That was back in the early 90s. I have done all of these things. They've all been part of who I am. And somehow in the last couple of years, since I got really involved in Maisie's work, all the other things that I did either fell to the wayside or I had never recovered them after the fire. When you live on Social Security, you can't go out and buy a $500 bat making machine, and you can't, I couldn't replace what I lost. However, I ended up with odds and ends that I didn't know had survived the fire, and that was only because they were in my concrete garage. Big Rubbermaid bins full of yarn and fiber and hand spindles, which is how I like to spin yarn, and beautiful, enchanting little, I had quite a collection of hand-carved and painted spool knitters and unbelievable crochet hooks. I wish I can't reach them now, or I'd pull them out. I'll have to show you sometime. They're unbelievable, by the amazing artist Noreen Crone Findlay. She has a blog called Toddy Talks Crafts. She has an amazing YouTube channel. She has a website. Not so much uses her website these days, I don't think, but she has several books out. A new one just come out very recently, and she used to make, and doesn't anymore, hand-carved wooden, beautiful little fiber equipment. And I had a lot of it that I'd collected over the years. I thought it was lost in the fire. Turns out it was in one of those bins in the garage. So what I've had to do since I moved back in here was piece together a life with what remained. I didn't have money to go out and buy a lot of new stuff, inexpensive art supplies, a little of this and that. What I have done is piece together a life here in my home at Dragonfly Cottage, and my creative life. And it is what sustains me. It is what brings me joy. And even though managing my mental health is a full-time job with weekly therapy and medication, and always will be, and I have my ups and downs, I have found that a disabled senior citizen with small financial means, living in her little cottage that she never leaves, can create an amazing, colorful, joyful, huge life for herself. When I say huge, I mean for me, I get up in the morning, I take care of my tiny little Molly dog, who is right here in my lap. Maisie is my alter ego, and Maisie's little dog Daisy, a Chihuahua Corgi mix with one eye, is Molly's alter ego. And yes, she hears her name. And some of you have seen her before, because sometimes she will just walk right up over me and be right in the camera's view. She's kind of settled, thank goodness, for right now. But in today's blog post, which is long, and I really refer you, there's always links, all of my links to every way you can reach me, to Patreon, where you can join me in my community, and a special thank you to patrons, without whom I would not be able to do my work. Patreon enables people who like an artist's work and want to support them, and also get a lot of content in return for supporting them. It allows me some extra financial means to get the art supplies I need, take care of life here at Dragonfly Cottage. It is tremendously appreciated. And the community of women, it's an all-women private community. As I've said before, all of my work is public for everyone. My blog and website and all over social media, it's all public for everyone except Patreon. Because being a small, private, closed community, it feels much safer for me, given my background, to have it only be women when we're in close, intimate contact. But men, I love you too. I have a lot of wonderful gentlemen, friends, and associates, and they enjoy my work in all the other places. All of those links are always below these videos, and I put the link to my actual website, which was maitrilibellul.com, but the landing page for my website is my blog. Now, if you just go to maitrilibellul.com, this came up today when someone wrote me. She said she never saw the place where you could leave comments. Well, you actually have to click on the title of the blog post to go to the page for that blog where you can leave comments. I always write everyone back. And when I put the posts out on social media or elsewhere, I always put the link that goes directly to the blog post so you can comment. That will be down below today, so you can see this extensive post with lots of pictures of my studio and work areas. In this post, as on Patreon, as in all of my book and the message of Maisie's World, is that no matter who you are, no matter what limitations you have, real or perceived, as I said, I am physically disabled, I am limited financially only on Social Security, I am almost 67. You know, I have lots, and agoraphobia, that like freaks people out. They think I must have a sad, lonely life here. And I just really don't. I have learned to create a life for myself and my little animal companions. There's 2 parakeets in the other room, Franny and Teddy. They live in the studio, where I spend most of my life. And I have learned how to take the life that I have with the limitations that I have, physical, emotional, mental health, financial, age, whatever, and I have made a life that I love. That's what Maisie's World is all about, trying to help you, if you're watching this, helping you realize your dreams are possible. You can create new dreams. You can recover old ones. You can perhaps have had dreams that you've given up on because they were not possible in the way you had at first imagined? Well, maybe not, but they can be revised. And I talked a little about that last week, about being an armchair traveler. But it is so much in my heart to want to encourage people to take a good hard look at who they are and where they are, and realize that despite any limitations, there is still so much possible for you. You can see my pictures. Some are right here in this chair. This is my cozy room, what I call the cozy room. It goes into my studio. And if you've been watching these, you know, but I took a very bad fall in the end of October. I sprained my foot and ankle and tore ligaments. It was a mess. And I have been having to do most of my work in this chair for now. However, I am healed enough that I'm starting to work in my studio again. I have a new art table in there, which there's a picture of in my blog post today. My work table is a 9-foot long antique farmer's table that was found kind of buried in a barn. I got it over 10 years ago when I was moving into this house, my Dragonfly Cottage. I got it for a song because it had been buried in that barn and like dusty and stuff piled on it. And thank God it survived the fire. It is, as I said, 9 foot long. It is so heavy. I mean, the tabletop part is really thick. The legs are enormous. It took 4 men to get it in here. And it is my joy. And I now have my studio set up with the help of dear Eleanor, who comes and helps me a couple times a month. She's helping me move some things around. I've got this long table, again, pictures in my blog post today, where one side of the table, I'm sitting looking at my computer. I do my writing, my reading, my research, my note making. I meditate. I do some drawing. All of that takes place there. The other side of the table is a sewing area, a fabric area, a fiber art area. I do keep some crochet here next to me in my chair here. I crochet in the evening just for fun. I think I showed you I'm crocheting a thing. It's getting big. I started crocheting with no destination in mind. In fact, I think I can reach it. It is this big rainbow thing, and I go round and round, and I keep changing colors, and people say, what do you want to make? Maybe it'll be a hat. I don't know. It might be a rainbow woman. I don't know, and I don't care. I just started crocheting because I wanted and needed to do something with my hands to help me relax. When you're bipolar and also a writer who lives in your head can just get spinning, spinning, spinning. I have always found it helpful to have handwork next to wherever I am writing. And when I get all caught up or feel a little stuck or get all buzzy in my head, I stop writing, I turn off the computer, and I pick up whatever fiber work or handwork or sewing that I have next to me. And there is really something that happens when you shift from your head to your hands. A huge shift takes place. It's very relaxing. Often stuck places that I was at in my writing, the answers come when I shift away from pushing so hard in that vein. So my big farmer's table has my writing area on one side, my fiber area on the other side. And before Christmas, I got a new 6-foot table. It's one of those. It's not expensive. It's plastic. It folds in half, sort of like almost looks like a suitcase. You open it up and fold out the legs, but it's very sturdy and well made. And I got a bright purple cover for it for $5 on Etsy. They come in all different colors. They are fitted tablecloths, plastic, that will fit right over that table. And I actually ordered a couple just to have spares in other colors, so that I can protect the table with all the painting that I do. It'll last a long time, and then you can like throw it out and put a new one on for $5. I have all of my painting supplies there now, and I'm just delighted. I have been working very hard. Eleanor has been helping me to really rearrange my studio so that I have designated working spaces. Writing, fiber art, textile art, painting, a whole work area here in my chair, because I still have to work with my foot up here some. Or at night. Molly and I sleep in this chair. It goes way back. It is my comfort cocoon, cozy place in my cozy room, where I have a fireplace and will be making a fire this evening. But I wanted to share with you these thoughts because I want you to really think about all those little things that maybe you haven't done in a long time, but you love and miss. And maybe you don't know, as I kind of don't, how it will all come together. I used to sell my fiber art. Right now, I'm just returning to crocheting and stitching and embroidery, and maybe I'm looking forward to doing some small weaving and other things just for me. Slowly, without big destinations or plans, for friends or family, for gifts, nothing for sale. I am looking forward to opening the channels to all of my creative endeavors, via writing and drawing and painting and all of the other things. I used to make little handmade dolls. I used to make little handmade books that I loved. Maisie is my central work, but I am inviting back in all of my creative work that I have loved and missed. And I think somehow this year, after last year being so hard for everybody, I think this is the year we look forward to recovering our dreams, creating new dreams, reclaiming dreams, bringing together all of those things that we've loved and perhaps lost in our lives, and seeing what we can make of them. That's what I'm doing. And my Patreon community is growing, and I love these women so much. We started last week. We'll have our second one tomorrow. Every Monday night we're having a live Zoom call so we can get to know one another. We can work while we're chatting. We can crochet or paint or draw or stitch or just relax and chat. You can have a beverage of your choice. You can show up in your jammies. But it is very important to me not only to receive much needed support, financial support from patrons, which I deeply appreciate and make my work possible, but it's also important for me to give back. And I do give a lot of content. I read every morning, 5 mornings a week, in a video that can be listened to like a podcast. We're currently reading May Sarton's Journal of a Solitude. I read for a half an hour every morning, and it's there for you to watch or listen to. And this is our third book, and people are really loving it. A very soothing, gentle kind of reading. The books that I'm reading are books that I have read and reread and loved and taught for decades. And I'm choosing books that can bring comfort and soothe and inspire and help those who are listening. So there's that. There's a lot of material I put in. This blog post I did today is my weekly blog post that's public. Once in a while I might pop a little blog post in about what's going on Patreon in the middle of the week. But mainly my blog posts, like these videos, are public work that I put out on Sundays. I blog the rest of the week and send notes to my patrons. That's patron only. Most of the work that I do right now is for my patrons on Patreon only. So if you're interested, you can join for as little as $5 a month and get a lot of content and a wonderful community. And I don't like to feel pushy about it. That's hard for me. But I do need to let people know what I'm doing, because some people can really benefit and really appreciate what they're getting there. So again, thank you to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. You have given me a home for all of my work and a way to create a home for you. And oh, here comes Miss Molly. Molly, you gonna say hello? She's right here. My little one-eyed wonder. Well, my dears, it is about time to close here. And again, links below to everything. You might really want to check out that blog post if you want to see lots of pictures of my studio, my work areas, everything that I'm creating here. And have a wonderful week. I hope the new year is starting well for you. I am sending you my love. I am wishing for you many, many blessings now and in the coming year. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask, and let's support one another. I'm here for you. You're not alone. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday.